Today we've got an absolutely wild, breaking, and potentially franchise-altering story involving the Boston Red Sox. And if you think baseball in 2026 has been interesting so far, wait until you hear this. Rumors are swirling that the Red Sox might be poised to make another shocking trade involving one of their most talented, high-profile players, and this one could shake up the entire American League. Now, before we get into the specifics of today's rumor, I need you to do something real quick. Smash that like button, subscribe right now if you're new here, and ring that bell so you don't miss any of our daily MLB updates. If you're a Red Sox fan, or even just a fan of baseball chaos, this is the video you absolutely have to watch all the way through. Alright, let's dive in. Just when we thought the Red Sox offseason and spring training were settling into a normal groove, a new report dropped that has every MLB insider buzzing. According to multiple sources including trade rumor specialists and insider chatter, Boston is actively exploring the idea of trading fan-favorite outfielder Duran in a blockbuster deal with the New York Mets. This is the kind of rumor that makes baseball Twitter blow up, and for good reason. Duran has been one of the most dynamic Red Sox players over the past couple of seasons, and rumors of him being on the block feels like the end of an era. Here's why this is such a shock to the baseball world. Duran isn't just another player. He's an electric outfielder with elite speed, impressive bat-to-ball skills, and an undeniable fan connection after some huge moments in 2024 and 2025. Many scouts still see him as one of the most valuable young offensive players in the league. So for the Red Sox to even consider moving him, it's big news. According to the latest reports, the Mets might be willing to offer two young infield starters, Mark Vientos and Brett Baty, in exchange for Duran. That's not a small haul, either, especially if Boston is looking to replenish its infield depth and address long-term positional needs. Teams always look to balance out their roster, but Duran has been a cornerstone piece in Boston's lineup. The idea that he could be part of a deal like this just 6 weeks before opening day? That's pretty shocking. And here's the fascinating part, this isn't happening in a vacuum. The Red Sox have already made several notable moves over the last few months that suggest the front office is in shake-things-up mode. Just recently, Boston traded relief pitcher Jordan Hicks and prospect David Sandlin to the Chicago White Sox, clearing salary and roster space, a move that surprised many analysts because Hicks, despite a rough 2025 season, still had name value. All of this points to a very real possibility. The Red Sox are looking at a deeper roster makeover. They seem determined to reshape the roster in ways that weren't on most fans' radars just a few weeks ago. Let's take a moment to understand the broader context here. At the start of the 2026 calendar year, the Red Sox made a number of high-profile acquisitions in free agency and trades, including locking up veteran arms and bolstering their bullpen. They extended closer Aroldis Chapman on a one-year deal with an option for 2027 that could be quite lucrative, keeping one of the best relievers in the American League in place for another season. They also beefed up their rotation by signing or trading for experienced starters like Ranger Suarez and Sonny Gray. These moves signaled Boston's intent to compete hard in 2026. They weren't rebuilding, they were reloading. Yet, despite all that, there have been consistent whispers from official MLB insiders and independent beat writers that Boston has roster imbalances that they simply haven't solved yet, particularly in the infield and lineup construction. Fans and analysts alike have pointed out that if Boston wants to be a legitimate contender, they have to address these issues before opening day. Now, in the midst of all this, Masataka Yoshida's name has also emerged in trade speculation. Reports out of Boston say the Red Sox are considering exploring a trade for Yoshida, a key outfielder with a big contract, in order to open up roster flexibility and give more opportunities to younger players. That's another layer to this story, one that shows how fluid the Red Sox roster situation has become. Taken together, the Hicks trade, the possibility of Duran being moved, the Yoshida trade chatter, it paints a picture of a team that is very much willing to make bold decisions, even if those decisions involve trading guys fans have grown to love. That's not something you see every year in Boston. Let's get back to Duran for a moment. What does Boston stand to gain if they move him? Well, depth in the infield is a massive plus. Many insiders have pointed out that second base and third base are areas where the club has legitimate questions. Bringing in established players like Vientos or Beatty, possibly both, could immediately improve that part of the roster. It would also allow Boston to rotate in emerging infield talent and balance its lineup in ways that weren't possible with Duran on the roster every day. But supporters of Duran make a strong case too. They point out that even after a down offensive season, his elite speed, base running value, and defensive range make him uniquely valuable and young enough that you'd be trading future potential in addition to present skill. That's part of why this entire rumor has polarized fans. This isn't trading a veteran nearing the end of his prime, this could be trading away someone who still has his best seasons ahead of him. Look, no one is pretending this rumor is set in stone. These are trade discussions, and trade talks are a part of every team's offseason and spring training strategy. But when multiple independent news outlets and insiders start talking about specific potential landing spots and realistic return packages, it stops being idle chatter and starts being something worth taking seriously. So where does this leave the Red Sox as we head into the heart of spring training? Analysts suggest that Boston is trying to strike a balance between competitiveness and roster flexibility. They want to win now, but they also know that having a roster that's too top-heavy or mismatched could limit their success down the stretch. If they can find a way to strengthen weak spots, even if it means moving a star, that could be a win for the team in the long run. But from a fan perspective, these kinds of rumors are emotional. Red Sox Nation is passionate. They celebrate the highs and loathe the lows, and watching a potential trade of a beloved player like Duran, one who's given them unforgettable moments, is the kind of talk that keeps social media buzzing and clubhouse conversation lively. So as we watch this story evolve over the next few weeks, here's what I'll be looking for. First, confirmation that the Mets are indeed pushing to make this deal happen. Second, whether Boston will insist on a return package that includes pitching as well as infield talent. And third, how this decision ultimately impacts Boston's opening day roster when the season officially begins. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you in the comments. What do you think about this rumor? Should the Red Sox trade Jarren Duran if the return is strong enough? Are infield needs worth moving one of the most exciting players on the roster? Let me know your take right now. And if you want more updates like this every single day, do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We're going to follow this story closely and bring you every twist and turn as it happens. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Go Sox!